Beyond these and other intellectual achievements, there are direct benefits to people's liberty. From early in history, the quest of knowledge has been a driving force of revolutionary change, not only causing paradigm shifts in our understanding of the cosmos, but also acting as an agent for the naissance and the renaissance of human societies. The European Renaissance would have been impossible without enlightenment about the significance of knowledge and the rational thinking. I think too much credit is given to the impact of politics on the progress of society. Without science, there is no development, and politicians would be unable to promise prosperity. Just think, what would our world be like without electricity, penicillin, and the airplane? From the agriculture and industrial revolutions to today's genomics and IT revolutions, science is at center stage for societal advancement, and Caltech graduates will surely play a leading role in conquering the next frontiers of discovery, innovations, and progress. Even in politics, technology is becoming the new weapon for transformative change in society. The youth of your generation are now harnessing information technology to do what those of my generation thought impossible. Elsewhere in the world, there still exists oppression, occupation, and human suffering. And young people are revolting to acquire liberty from repressive regimes. The hope I witnessed firsthand in Egypt is a telling indication of a new role for science in democracy. You are aware, no doubt, of the People's Revolution sweeping the Middle East as I speak. I witnessed in real time the Egyptian uprising that began on January 25th of this year, and remarkably led to the removal of Mr. Mubarak in only 18 days. I saw university students in the hundreds of thousands, and then people in millions marching toward Tahrir Square in Cairo. The name of the square means liberty, and that is precisely what the youth wanted from a 30-year-old regime. They demonstrated peacefully with impeccable organizational skill and in unison. In my generation, we would probably have had to use stones, sticks, and guns in order to rise up. In your generation, they used Facebook, Twitter, and SMS. Without the development of the chip, wireless technology, and the internet, this revolution may never have succeeded as a peaceful and civilized transformation. Although the road ahead is bumpy, I am optimistic that with investment in education and development, again through science, a democratic Egypt will emerge. You may be interested to know that only a few months after the revolution, Egypt announced the establishment of a new city for science and technology on 300 acres of land. And guess which university model will be followed? Your soon-to-be alma maters, Caltech. When people in the Middle East ultimately gain their freedom, the world will be better off. Some scholars argue that the world is destined always to be embroiled in conflicts and wars. But this bleak picture is surely not the result of a natural phenomenon. We, the people, cause such conflicts. And we, the people, can either kindle the fire or help to extinguish it. The United States cannot change the culture of other people, and nations are responsible for their own plight. But it is the kismet of the United States to lead in the world by utilizing its most valuable force, the American value system of individual liberty, justice, and human rights. I believe that much can be achieved, not by hegemony, but by the strategic use of the real force of America, its soft power. The soft power of science has the potential to reshape global diplomacy, and at significantly lower expense than that needed for use of the hard power of military involvement. I'm hopeful that a new national policy will be chartered for leadership in innovation. This policy should be inclusive of international science diplomacy for partnerships in development. Some may argue that it is naive to think of applying such idealistic values in our imperfect world, but directing the influence of science diplomacy is in the best interests of the United States. Through the power of knowledge, we can efface ignorance and shape a future that binds cultures and civilizations. In his recent Cairo speech, President Barack Obama articulated a new initiative for cooperation and partnership that emphasizes the role of science in diplomacy, particularly with the Muslim majority countries. Earlier, the President appointed me to his Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, and later I became U.S. Science Envoy to the Middle East. I embarked on a diplomatic mission that took me back to where I came from, but now with a different objective. From touring and seeing the state of science and education, not only in the region but also globally, I believe we will face serious consequences if we do not choose to act. I recently read an important study that left me awestruck by the demographics of knowledge across our planet's population. In Educating All the Children, a Global Agenda, Joel Cohen and David Bloom argue that the aim of achieving primary and secondary schooling for all the children is urgent and feasible, and yet more than 300 million children will not be in school in the year 2011. Every effort should be made to change this state of affairs so that we may hope for a better future for our world. So the 21st century education that you are fortunate to have received at Caltech is far-reaching. It reaches beyond the classical boundaries, not just across so-called interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary fields, but also between nations, and maybe soon even across planets. Perhaps the best words to describe the value of education and knowledge are those of Thomas Jefferson. In 1782, in his notes on Virginia, he wrote, "The general objects of a bill to diffuse knowledge more generally through the mass of people are to provide an education adapted to the years, to the capacity and the condition of everyone, and directed to their freedom and happiness." Remarkably, Jefferson, more than 2 centuries ago, saw the virtue of education on the individual and global level. My dear graduates, this commencement is the initial stage of a developmental process. It is the beginning of a long voyage. In this journey, invest your fortune of knowledge wisely and forge your place and time into opportunity. Have a dream and work hard to realize that dream, as did the great man who spoke these resounding words, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Without hard work, we are not entitled to a good life. And without compassion, we will not attain the good life in a world majority population of half-nuts. The investment of your family and your country in you was made for a good reason. You need a good education, to lead a fuller, richer life. The country needs you to build its future, and the world will be a better place when knowledge replaces ignorance. Congratulations to the class of 2011.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zewail. These graduates will find that scientists and engineers are increasingly being called upon to provide leadership throughout the world stage, and they have no better citizen scientists to look for than you. Thank you very much.